When the pressure is high and the energy low, that's when your business needs inspiration to change and to grow. It's also when true captains show up. Hi, I'm Mark Francis, and I'm the host of this podcast that invites industry leaders from all over the world to answer the question, who's your captain? When you need to motivate and to mobilize, to develop and enable your team. Whether you are new to being a leader or you aspire to be a captain, this podcast is for you. Welcome to Who's Your Captain? I'm so delighted to have Arun Anand with me because one of the great stories in business is when you take an idea from the garage and you make it global, and very much Electric Miles has that kind of background. Arun, welcome.
No, thank you. Thank you, Mark, for having me. I'm delighted. Obviously, seeing your book. I've ordered it, I promise. I want to read it.
Thank you. That's great.
And
that's great.
Considering like sports, I have a special place in my heart, and I feel sports and leadership and captaincy, there's so much kind of intertwined. So when you kind of spoke to me about it, I was like, yeah, I definitely want to come on board as your guest and have a conversation because it's terrific that you're kind of combining sports and business leadership together.
And we'll talk more about that connection for you. I'd love to give the audience a little bit of a background about Electric Miles. So you were and are an electric vehicle user, but you're also an engineer. And so in that experience as a car user, you thought, oh, this is not as good as it could be, the experience, both in terms of efficiency, time saving, but also save the planet. And that, I believe, was the background to Electric Miles. Tell us a little bit more about your backstory.
Yeah, sure. So, hey, I'm Arun, founder, CEO of Electric Miles. Been building this dream for the last 5 years. So we build the software layer that sits underneath EV chargers and energy system. So we help drivers at home, if you're charging at home or in a business or a fleet or a bigger bus operator, right? So we are kind of quite agnostic now to help them run charging reliably, reduce energy cost, and increasingly kind of support the grid, right?
Now, and this is about timing, isn't it? Just from my understanding, supporting the grid means the timing in which you do it makes a difference to everyone in the grid.
Absolutely, because if you understand, electricity is an invisible commodity. We can't see it. We can't feel it. Well, if you touch it, you'll be getting a big shock.
Yeah, but for sure.
The issue is it's also a very complex commodity because it can't be stored very cheaply and easily. And just now we're having technology to store electricity, right? So because of that, the electricity needs to be produced and consumed within the space of 30 seconds to a minute. Otherwise, the grid frequency is to be stable, right? So it's really complex. My background is in energy. I worked in energy for 20 years, and I even worked for the grid and, sat at that control station and was able to see the way they balance the supply and demand. And honestly, Mark, it's one of the most fascinating things as an engineer. I mean, I got excited but when electric vehicle and started to come to fore, and I was like, wow, you're adding so much more strain now on the grid, right? Because you're taking away fossil fuel, which is dirty fossil fuel, but you're now gonna say, okay, the same electricity which powers your home will now need to power the car. So you're putting like double the strain on the grid, and so more so now we need to manage this. We need to manage this in order to keep the grid sort of sustainable, right? So
you have this lovely solution brain, don't you, about let's solve this problem.
Yeah.
And using software and modern technology to do that.
Absolutely. So the idea came from obviously seeing a very real gap on the ground, right? So everyone was obviously focused on EV hardware, But once charger were installed, the real problem started. Like sites went down, energy bills spiked, depot hit grid limit, and teams were like firefighting with spreadsheets. So I realized the bottleneck wasn't adoption, it was operation, right? And obviously, I bought my first electric car like 10 years ago. And it's funny because I have a son who's 9, and he actually thinks that petrol pumps are coffee shops where drivers just come and rest. and and I feel it's great because I'm also a climate champion. I feel the world it can be in a better place because and I believe in the climate scare. It's not scaremongering; it's reality. Climate change is real. It's happening, and if we don't take it seriously, we're gonna have our next couple of generation is gonna have a pretty horrid time. So I feel if we really get behind it, and if you look at carbon emission, right? So 70% of the carbon emission comes from transport and energy, right? And
Yeah,
that's exactly where we sit, right? Because if we can solve this the right way, now renewable energy is growing at a tremendous pace. UK is now one of the cleanest grid we have because we get a lot of wind and a lot of solar. I mean, people think that there's no, solar, and it's a misconception that for solar you need bright sunny day every day. Yes, it helps, but just with daylight you can generate a lot of solar. So we are growing that portfolio at a tremendous pace. We stop burning coal, and so UK is like leading the fore, and we other countries are following. So well, I was in India last on a trade mission, and there you see the real kind of devastation of climate crisis, right? Because I was
absolutely.
in I was in New Delhi, and the capital, and the AQI, which is the way to measure the air quality, is about 500. Now, just to compare, London is about 5. So from 5 to 500, it's like basically people in Delhi are smoking about 5 cigarettes a day without smoking. That's
Gosh.
how severe it is, right? So, and yeah, they're trying to solve that problem because I feel they've electrified their buses, they've electrified a lot of their vehicles, but unfortunately, the energy is still is generated by coal. So we are trying to help them to see how we can use our technology, our intelligence to optimize uh, that growing renewable generation with EV charging. So if we can match it, right, which means we don't have to burn as much coal, and then you will actually move the needle, right? So
I love this, Aaron. I
yeah,
love
it's
this.
it's it's a big massive mission. It's a 10-year mission because what we're trying to do it can't be solved in few years. So but I feel it can really be done, and we can, as UK, we can take we should take the leadership in this.
So what I love. This is a noble vision, a noble mission for the benefit of the many, which is cool. It's your engineering background, so it's an innovative solution to the problem as well. And I'm fascinated to find out how you scale that. So great idea. How do we get enough people to know about it and sign up? So let's just get a little bit of context for everybody. How many users do you have already with your solution? What number of users do you have?
Yeah, so we have close to about 16, 17,000 users globally. And a lot of them are home drivers, but we have a growing portfolio of business drivers and fleet and kind of bus operators. And so we are now live in like 5 countries as well. Uh,
Which countries, out of interest, which countries are
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah. So
live
we
in?
are live in UK, Germany, Germany, France, Italy, in Dubai and India. So we are now across kind of 3 continents as well. Uh, so how we scale is we scale by staying obsessively close to the problem, right? So, like I said, in the UK, we're helping a lot of domestic users monetize on flexibility. For example, now, flexibility. What that means is that um, we act as an aggregator in the middle. So you have grid on one side, and you got this growing user base which is charging on demand in order to keep up with their busy life. Uh, so those grid operators have given us a contract to say, hey, listen, you have a growing portfolio, and whenever we feel a bit strained on our grid, we'll send you a signal. And if you can lower the demand to start with, to say that, hey, between sort of 6 and 7 p.m. on a winter weekday is generally a very high demand period, right, Mark? Everybody comes home, they're
That's right.
cooking, it's dark, the lights are on, the cooker is on, so the demand is through the roof. And at that time, if half of them decide to start charging as well, right, which is what
Problems.
is
Yeah.
happening, then suddenly the local grid is like, oh my God, this is breaking our grid. So what we can do is that, or through the cloud, we can switch them off and automatically. And if we switch them off, then obviously the grid demand comes down, and they are able to in a safe they're in a safe zone again. And if we do that, they pay us, and we pass some of that back to the drivers. So like that in the UK, like last month we gave 50 drivers £30 from the
Oh, that's
electric.
really cool. That's
Yeah, yeah.
really cool.
Are
So this
making
this is
ready on the platform.
helping everybody, right? This is giving value and money to everybody in the network. So
Exactly.
lovely idea.
That's one way. And
Wonderfully creative.
just to complete, right? So on the fleet side, uh, they obviously they got bigger issues, right? They care if vehicle are charged by morning, costs are predictable, and the system
Yeah.
doesn't fail. So we got a couple of bus depots on our platform, and these electric buses now. Obviously, Mark, you go to a bus stop waiting for your bus. You look at the time. You expect the bus to arrive on that time, right? Uh, Now imagine if that bus didn't get charged properly then overnight due to system issues, then it wouldn't turn up on time, right? And we'll have to pay severe penalties for not turning up on time. So we help those operators to ensure the buses arrive on time, and they're charged on time, and and they're charged with heavily sort of cost optimized, because it's significant cost for them to charge 20, 30, 50 buses big through electricity. So we kind of do that, and now we are trying to scale that solution globally, like where we are focused, uh, because the grid thing is very much UK and Europe, but the bus charging is happening around the world. So we're
Yeah.
just close to signing up our first bus operator in India, who are operating thousands of buses, but they are dumb charging. They're not putting any intelligence behind it. And we say, hey, we can help you. We can help you bring data and charge your buses at the cheapest, greenest time, and that will give you 30-40% savings.
And how many staff do you have? Because this sounds like it's software-based solutions, and you don't need a huge team. Is that a correct assumption?
Yeah, I mean, uh, nowadays, obviously, it's an AI revolution going on, right? So, but you still need smart people, right? And so we are quite lean. We are about 22 people globally. Uh, I feel so they're mainly kind of product tech engineers
Yeah,
who are
product development, some
yeah,
business development, I would
some
imagine as
business
well.
development, yeah, some support. But yeah, we're leveraging AI a lot. I feel it's it's an exciting time to run a business. It's also a scary time to run a business, because with AI, you could do so much crazy stuff, and you could automate so many things, which unfortunately there'll be some job losses, right? In terms of and as any business, your responsibilities towards the business to keep it in a cost optimized way. If the byproduct of that is hey, you have to cut few people because AI can do a better, faster job, then don't beat yourself to it. I say that to founder CEO, who sometimes feel, oh wow, this is gonna cut jobs. But I think everybody are up against it. AI, right? They have to up their game. They have to upskill. They have to ensure that your AI is helping you rather than deterring you. So I think will continue to be lean, and while we are scaling, yeah, we obviously need to add few more regional people, but I say that to my investor, right? We could really scale without having an army of people to do this.
So it's smart, isn't it? It's smart scaling. How do you take 18,000 users to 150,000 where you really are getting some traction? What's the thing that'll make the difference to get that leap in your business?
Yeah, I mean, again, tapping on to the right markets, number one, right, where you're seeing the scale. Uh, Tapping on to emerging markets as well. So this is where our app is now available across Europe and across GCC, Gulf and Asia. We're tapping on to uh, user base that sees the value. But on the other side, it's not just about getting to 150 users. It's about the right sort of user base as well, right? So, like in India, we're only focusing on bus charging because I feel the passenger market is going to be a lot slower because wherever there's infrastructure has not been built, like for example UK and Europe, thanks to Tesla, to be honest. Tesla built an amazing infrastructure as an OEM and then started selling the car. But if you look at some of the other African and Asian market, I mean, apart from China, China is a world leader now in this space. But not, but if you look at other countries, the infrastructure for somebody like you and me to buy an EV is they're thinking 10 times more because the infrastructure is still not there. But where infrastructure is there, where the problem exists is in the bigger vehicle, and the problem is also bigger. So we try to be smart about it rather than go crazy and enter every country and try to do everything we do in the UK. But it's got to be very bespoke.
So how do you target that? Because you said, I don't just want 150,000 users, I want target users. Describe the ideal user for us. What's the ideal user of electric miles?
Uh, if wherever there is, because one of our niche is we are building this virtual power plant and we can monetize on the grid. But wherever grid is advanced, like for example, UK and Netherlands and Germany and even California. So there our target is, hey, can we acquire the user and start them to using our app, and we can smart charge them, and then we can sign up with a local utility program or a local grid to then really monetize on the both side, right? But not all, wherever the grid ecosystem is not advanced, then we are focusing on the commercial side and say, hey, we got a platform where businesses and operators can use our platform, can host the chargers, can take payment. Like you go to a hotel, charging is no longer free. Like it was about 5 to 7 years ago. You have to pay for it. So uh, we have the ecosystem to take the payment, charge them, and then take our cut, and then give the operator all the dashboard and reporting. So then some countries we're focusing there, and some countries, like I said, India and Africa, we are focusing on the bus charging, where government is pumping lots of money. They want to electrify buses. They're doing it. They're doing it so fast without the experience. They're probably doing it wrong, and that's where we want to go in and say, hey, learn from our experience. We don't repeat the mistakes because it's costly, and use technology to kind of give you the best outcome. Because
I'm fascinated because, you're an inventor, you're a founder, you're an inventor, you're an engineer. So you bring creativity and technical skills to produce a holistic solution. So it sounds brilliant. How do you get that message out there? Now, obviously, this is useful doing a podcast. That helps. You're a renowned speaker, so you're on the speaking circuit talking, which helps. But that exponential growth requires really smart, targeted marketing. How do you do that? What's your plan?
yeah, I mean, it's really important to get the message out. One of the job of the CEO or founder is, to come on a podcast like this, and hopefully you will help us with our message scaling. But I feel exponential growth isn't about doing everything faster, right? It's about building systems that compound when pressure increases, right? So I think obviously most founders talk about exponential growth as revenue curves. But in reality, right, it starts with decision quality, operating discipline, and repeatability, right? So at Electric Mars, right, growth only compounds if charging works every day. If vehicles aren't ready by morning, nothing else matters. So I think I say that to my team, that just don't be crazy fanatic about the user base, that I want to get to 100,000 users. But you can get to 100,000, but if you get to only 50% of them are happy, then what's the point, right? So we also, I don't feel sometimes in our industry, we see that with some competitors where they seem to be in a hurry, and they seem to want to solve everything tomorrow, and maybe because they raise so much money that there's a lot of pressure. I feel this is just beginning, right? I mean, we electric vehicle market share is still 3 to 4%. Got 95% to convert, and it will happen. So it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it's really important we build a great organic business. But like I said, the challenge, the mission is so magnanimous, right? It could take decades to solve this, right? Like the problem I was saying in India, AQI 500, probably take a decade. Like, I'll give you a great example. Like China, all right, Beijing had an AQI of 500 in 2012, and then they decided very, very seriously, the government, that no, we're going to do something about it. And they electrified every buses, every taxis. Now you go to Beijing. I'm going in April. Really looking forward, taking my two kids. Is they have taken it so seriously and done it, executed it such a level that forget congestion zone. Like, you can't enter in the city center if you have a petrol or diesel car, right?
This is fascinating. Absolutely
And
fascinating. Because I
now
was there in 2012.
it was,
And
pollution was immense. I don't know if you
it
remember.
wasn't good.
Yeah,
Wasn't
but
good. I was
today,
there in 2008 as well, where they had the Olympics.
yeah,
And they cleaned up a bit because of the Olympics, but then it went back. So it's really cool to hear they made those changes. That's really
and
smart.
today AQI of Beijing is as good as London. It's crazy.
Wow.
Like, so
That
it's
really surprises me.
Yeah, obviously the government. I mean, it's a different type of government, right? So it's a lot more authoritative. So it's possible, but it can be done, and that's why I said when I was in India, I was telling them, like, guys, it can be done, but yeah, you've got to be very, very ruthless, laser focus about it, because it's costing lives. People are losing lives, and it's costing the quality of life as well. Yeah.
So in your journey, Aaron, and it's an exciting stage. I love this perspective. You say it's a marathon, not a sprint. So let's get the foundation in place. Let's get the system correct. And then the growth will come. And that can take time, and that's fine. I like that energy. How do you manage your time? Because you and I have been in touch a few times in the last few weeks. And one thing I do know is you're crazy busy. You travel a lot. You're very active as a CEO. How do you prioritize your time between leading, managing, and doing?
Yeah. I mean, that's it's obviously one of the thing that gets me going is I'm able to sustain this level of pressure, but also pros and cons, right? It comes with a massive sort of benefit of traveling, going to interesting places, meeting interesting people.
Being keynote speaker at various events.
Yeah, and building your network. I mean, I was just saying that this morning that your net, people talk about their net worth and how much billionaires their net worth is, but I feel network is your net worth, because
Yeah.
it's whom you know and who can move things for you, right? So, but yeah, I mean, having one of the thing of any founder CEO is when they raise their first serious money is to build a team which can run the business for you, right? So I that's one thing I really enjoy, like I hiring people, and I mean I got some wrong, but I think I got most right. And in anything in life, right, you just need to get more right than wrong. It's not
Yeah, that's true.
if you've done more wrong than right, then the trajectory will not be in your favor. But I feel even with people skills, with people. So yeah, I mean, there's so much talent around. It's just crazy. So I'm really grateful to hire some great senior leaders who are now pretty much running the show. And obviously, I'm a hands-on founder, so I get involved in product and sales and marketing and everything. But yeah, now they kind of run it for me, and it allows me to do my job, which is raising money. Number one, don't run out of money, and also signing some big enterprise customers
Yeah.
and all of that, and just keep the culture going as well. I feel culture setting and is also a responsibility of the CEO that there's a right, especially when you're growing and there's intense pressure and there's young. I mean, I'm also a great believer in hiring young people. So our average age I'm sure, is in the 20s.
Oh, that's amazing.
Uh,
So 20 I'm reminded 20 odd members of the team, maybe 22. The majority are in their 20s. You've got some real big hitting experts as well.
yeah,
And this is the point of this is why the podcast is called Who's Your Captain? You're the captain, you're the founder, you're the owner, you're the CEO, and you have created other captains, and they are leading their own section, and you can delegate to them so you can focus on other things like getting smart investments. So that's the whole principle of Who's Your Captain, right? It cannot only be you, because your time is finite, right? So you have to spread the word if you're going to scale. If you're going to scale in the way you aspire to, it's essential you develop other people to be leaders. And so how do you monitor that? How do you monitor you recruit really smartly, so you get really bright, passionate people. How do you monitor their development from that point, their growth? What do you do to measure growth of talent and skill?
mm, yeah. I mean, this is the fun part, right? Of
Should
hiring
be, yeah.
hiring young people and just giving them. There's no point hiring smart people and you tell them what to do, right? So I mean, I am a great uh, follower of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, this very, very popular quote. I don't want to steal it. I want to reference him that, you don't hire smart people and tell them what to do. So, so yeah, it's important. Again, it comes down to culture, right? You set a culture where, people are able to make decisions. People are able to play in their space and get the right support. And as long as backed by data, I mean, I say to my team all the time, like, don't just back it by your judgment, back it by data, right? Data doesn't lie. And if you come that to me, then, your chances to kind of get approval is much higher, right? So I think this is where leadership really comes in, right? So it's important in the beginning. You're leading by example, right? So I mean,
Role model.
coming down to your book and the cricket analogy, right? The founders, they don't get to lead from the pavilion. You know, they lead while batting or bowling, often on a collapsing pitch with
Yeah, gosh.
everyone watching the scoreboard. So and yeah, there are times which you'll be really. I mean, I had several such moments, and even going through probably now as well. Kind of, that constant pressure of cash flow and of sales, of investor expectation, of enterprise sales. I think leadership only really shows up when option disappear. Right. I also believe that
Fascinating.
because
True leadership, because otherwise it's managing, isn't it? You're managing the day-to-day with your resources hitting your targets. That's management.
Yeah, exactly. If it's a hunky,
and leadership is different.
If it's a, and hey, some businesses are like that, where they just great product, great market, but they have some other challenges around scaling, and but I think it's really, really hard to start a company. But what's harder, people don't realize, to be honest, starting a company is not hard, right? The hardest part is the middle, when nothing is working, when the belief dips,
when the growth has stopped, the fast start has leveled out.
That is the hardest part. That's where a lot of businesses, a lot of founders give up, and I don't blame them, right? I mean, to be honest, it's really, really tough. I mean, I had several of those moments, like, oh God, is it really working? And but yeah, you gotta. I think great leaders are also very intuitive. They have this intuition and disbelief and conviction. I think again, Elon Musk, a great whatever he is. I know he's been on the press for wrong reason, but you can't take away he's just a terrific leader and inventor and believer, right? So when SpaceX kind of crashed, he pretty much, his last money was burnt. And there's a picture when he sits down and he watches his rocket collapsed in pieces. And just imagine what was going in his mind, right? Like, do I just quit? I've burnt all my money, or do I not quit and I give another chance because I'm so close to cracking it, right?
Yeah, there's several elements from that, isn't there? There's be bold, be big and bold, but also be incredibly resilient.
Yes.
That you've crashed, right? Okay, what did we learn? Let's fly again. It's that energy and that mindset that says nothing's actually going to stop us. These are bumps in the road. They're not something that stops the journey at all. And that's what you've got to admire about people like Steve Jobs and like Elon Musk, who dream incredibly big.
Yeah.
And stay on message. Stay on message.
Again, it's that long-term game, right? If you think short-term, then probably they'll be quitting, right? But if they know what they're trying to solve is so long-term, as you're talking about 20, 30, 50 years, right? Then that feels very insignificant. Then, like, oh yeah, this is fine. I can recover from this, right?
It's a balance, this point about long-term perspective, though, because I mean, I love that energy from you as a leader. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And then you've got the other pressures, like you have investors for whom it might be more of a sprint, right? It's a very rare investor that says, I don't care how long it takes to get a return. Most are saying within 2 years, let's see something special. So how do you generate the knowledge or get out there? And what I mean by that, and it's a question I asked earlier around, I suppose it's marketing, what we're talking about, that I know lots of my friends are moving towards electric cars for all the right reasons. Great. But they will not have heard of electric miles. Almost certainly they won't. How do you change that? How do you get your message more consistently out there with that 95, 96% of market share still available?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, absolutely. And this is where marketing is fascinating, right? I feel where, but I also believe that you you need marketing if you need again, we're not there yet, but I believe in this, that you need marketing when the sales are not working, and you need sales if the product is not working. So it comes down to
Fascinating.
your core product, right? If you are if you're so obsessed in building the best product in whatever field you're in, right, that forget about competition. Like, my product needs to solve this problem, and it's got to solve it so well that the user of the product would not even think about would not mind stringing his credit card, or would not mind subscribing, and would would then talk about it to their would talk about it with his friends and peers, and
Yeah.
so it's really comes down to that product. Now I see a lot of founders not working on the product, and just spending crazy amount on marketing, which will get you somewhere, but eventually, if the product is still substandard, right, the end result will not be there, right? So
Yeah.
it's putting all that energy in first building an amazing product, which solves the core of the issues. I give this analogy to my team as well. It's the painkiller versus vitamin, right? So if somebody has a toothache and you try to sell them vitamin, he's not going to try it, but he wants the painkiller, right? Uh, and uh, and I feel it's also solving the product needs to sell to somebody who has that pain, right? So that's where sales and marketing comes in, right? If you're trying to again sell a painkiller to somebody who does not have a pain, you should be selling them vitamin or not painkiller, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah, I do. And the interesting thing is that there's so many different ways to market, isn't there? I mean,
yeah.
so from my business point of view, we're a lovely business called the Uspire Partnership, and there are 33 in the wider team, and that's a lovely team, similar size to your good sales. Our focus is what we call event marketing, so that we draw our customers into a room together at least twice a year and have a conference where we bring value and we kind of share our message in the event. So it's event marketing, which, by the way, you're very welcome to come to the next one, April 23rd in London. And I'll send you the details, Arun. And we gather 150 people who are customers or potential customers, and we share some interesting, relevant topic so that there's value for our customers. And then from that, we get referral and more business. So event-based marketing. It's much harder with an idea like electric miles for me, because the opportunity, the number of people you could target is vast. So how do you get the best type of users with your marketing? That's a question. I don't know the answer to that. I don't think that's easy at all, given how much information is out there about life and everything. To cut through that and say, hey, here we are, electric miles, I don't think is an easy task at all.
Yeah. I mean, again, there's once you have a great product, and then you double down on marketing, and sales automatically comes through, right? So for example, one of our product called Impact, which is really focused on solving some of the pain points of the operator around increasing the uptime, increasing reliability, so that, like I said, buses or vans can turn up more certain on time, and they're able to reduce that cost. So then you get into clever ways now with digital marketing, where running campaigns, and you're so much. It's just crazy how much it has transformed in the last sort of 5 years, right? You could look at intent data. You could look at buying signals. Again, like my analogy of sending painkiller to somebody who has a toothache. Now, there are data available where you could find all the people who has toothache going on right now, all right? Because they're searching about it online. So now with digital growth marketing and performance marketing, you can actually get in front of those people, and then it's about your process, right? And I say that to my team, like everything, even sales is a process. If you don't follow the process, you won't get the result. So it's about repeating the process X amount of time, uh, so that you get you get the right conversion. So it's
I'm
just
getting I'm getting a lovely feeling about your business, Aaron, about the quality and the substance. This is everything you've been sharing is about, let's get it right. Let's produce something of real value, which is easy to use and makes all the difference you've described. It's greener for the planet. It's more efficient. It adds value in terms of a little bit of revenue where appropriate, or money back. So substance, value, sustainable, really, really cool. I love this. How do you help your team to be of the same mindset? So it isn't about lots of growth quickly. It's about doing it correctly. It's about customer service. So once you've got someone on board, a user or a franchise, how do you keep them? What's your retention methodology?
Yeah. So I think it comes down to that culture setting, right? So I'm very much in the kind of middle of that sort of I take accountability for that. And culture isn't what you write on the wall; it's what you tolerate on a bad day, right? Uh,
Yeah.
So I think your culture is the that can set a tremendous standard, where again when you have a young team that comes in and they kind of take on, we have this handbook where we kind of written down stuff on the culture rise. So and real culture only shows up obviously when the pressure is on. So when customer service, we have some bad time as well, when there are issues, on the server, or any sort of performance is not there.
Inevitable, isn't it?
It's inevitable, exactly. It's and again, this is where we got some good rating on Trustpilot, because again, what is Trustpilot? It's not about how good your product is how good is the customer service when the product has failed momentarily, right? So again, I'm very obsessed with customer service. I think every owner, every leader should be, because it's about respecting your customer's time. Somebody has given you time, money, value to your product, and it's your responsibility that you can't let them down. And you this is what the business is about, right? Without customer, there's no business. You could have the most amazing product, like you could have the best of the Apple iPhones, but without the Apple users, what is Apple, right? So
Absolutely right.
just,
Aaron, I've got two really big questions for you. Two left, as it were, my last two, but they're big. And this is not going to be easy to answer, actually, because the question is, what's your biggest challenge now for Electric Miles? And you've shared wonderfully about the business, and I hope we've whet people's appetite to think, I'd like to be a user. I hope we will generate some business for you for all the right reasons. But what's the biggest challenge that your business faces now? What would you say?
Yeah, so we are at a stage where demand is real, customer depends on us operationally, expectation are higher. So the challenge isn't product vision anymore, right? It's execution at scale. For example, Now we are talking about operating a bus in India, in Ethiopia, in Mauritius, like literally all these opportunities are, and we know the product can do it, but can we still deliver that 10 on 10 on customer service
Yeah, fascinating.
while without doubling the team now? And I don't want to. I don't feel sometimes where when you scale the business and where you fail is they think, oh, just hire more people, right? And I don't think so. That's the answer, right? It's so we because end of the day, I believe I say that to my investors board as well. We want to build a sustainable business, where we 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 want to double our revenue without doubling our cost. That's a great business.
Yes, yeah, that's good business. That's
Yeah,
smart
yeah, yeah.
business.
So
I understand that. Yeah.
yeah, so I think obviously fundraising while you're scaling, it's also that smart money, that access to smart money. And I'm sure founders and CEO who are fundraising who are listening to me will feel the pain. It's for me that's been one of the hardest part, right? Trying to because we are software businesses always are a little bit hungry on capital because they're scaling. You can't scale and be profitable at the same time in a short period, right? It takes time. You gotta it's that curve coming together, so that you're scaling and you ramping up and your cost is sustained, and for you to then be in a position where okay, I don't need growth capital. It takes time, and hopefully we'll get there in the next sort of 12 to 18 months. That's the
Oh,
target.
that's cool. That's very cool. Super exciting
But
times.
but
And
fundraising is, I think this is where, especially now, Mark, uh,
harder than it was.
yeah, because it's so volatile. Look at what's happening around us. Like investors, I don't blame them. The safer place, the safest place
Gold.
for money. Well,
Yeah.
not rule is to put it in under your bed.
Yeah, probably the safest. Yeah. And my last question is around what's the biggest opportunity that's yet to be realized? So we've talked a little bit about opportunities for growth and scaling, but what's the big win that you haven't yet realized?
Wow, this is a great question. Great question. Uh, because again, we've been doing EV charging, and now where we are seeing a massive traction and scale is in battery storage.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like I was saying in the beginning, right, when I was
There's the connection with Elon Musk as well. He's the world's leading battery maker.
yeah, but I'm talking about not car batteries. I'm talking about storing electricity cheaply, safely in your garage, for example, right? And,
Fascinating. Yeah.
and that's
So this
happening.
is very individual.
Yeah. Individual
Hmm. Yeah,
businesses.
yeah.
I feel again, like I said, right, the challenge is massive because I feel 10 years from maybe 5 to 7 years from now, uh, I think most people would be self-sustaining. Most people with houses. So what does that mean? Is you've got solar panels on your roof, you are producing electricity, you got a battery storage that stores that electricity when you're not at home, right? And then you have an electric car that comes back. So
Yeah.
so imagine, right? And then we got vehicle to grid coming in where you can actually sell the energy, excess energy back to the grid. So you're on a summer day, you could be generating enough energy that can run your entire home without having to take any energy from the grid, right?
Yes.
And you could also be in a position we will orchestrate all of that. So electric Mars will our software intelligence will tell you that, because it's just too much for a normal user, right? We'll tell you that, okay, Mark, you've now got X amount of energy in your battery. Shall I use when your car when you come home at 5-6 o'clock, you plug in and say, okay, you could take X amount from your battery, and then that will, then I could connect your calendar. So you could be like, oh, okay, so Mark, tomorrow you're working from home, so you don't need to charge your car. So that 60% battery you have, why don't we give it back to the grid?
God, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Because you could be charging at 5 pence a kilowatt, and then during peak time, grid will pay you 40 pence a kilowatt, right? And suddenly you're trading. So we did a pilot in Austria with partners in orchestrating all of this, and it was tremendous. Like, we were taking signal from the driver. So this is, and again, this, I'm just giving you a domestic scenario, but this can be replicated across businesses and fleets at larger
Fleets, yeah,
as well.
But that's so exciting, Aaron, in terms of the possibility. As you said, in not too many years, that is the possibility, and you're the facilitator of that. You're the coordinator, as your word.
Yeah. We are orchestrating, coordinating, dancing.
It's fantastic
because it's all that intelligence. It's the information. It's the chat GPT of charging, right? It's telling you what to do, because that's what AI has brought in, right? You don't want to think. You just have such a busy life, and you just want to trust somebody who's going to make the right decision for you, right? And we want to be that, so that you are maximizing your assets. The idea would be that you pay zero for electricity. It's free, and you could make some money,
Yeah, amazing. And what a great way to conclude the podcast, Aaron. Just want to say a huge thank you for sharing that. The possibility is inspiring, and I wish you all the best with electric miles. Captain Arun Anand, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.